I myself am a jokester. I like to consider myself.
I like your personality, bro.
I love to crack a joke. I'm the first one that's gonna do a Grinch impersonation. You know,
To lighten the mood. Oh, Grinch. When that girl bent over, you went.
yeah. You know, something simple, but something sweet that'll just put a smile on your face.
Like, what was your major?
Yeah,
that sucks.
see that? It's live action right
That's
there.
real out here, dog.
Go
So,
for it.
Luis, howdy, dog?
I am currently 34 years old.
34.
Yes, sir.
You from here?
Born and raised
Right on, dog.
in South Tucson.
Okay. Are you staying on the streets right now?
Currently, I am homeless, so the streets are my home.
Okay. How was life growing up for you?
This life, well, you know.
How's Luisito?
Hey, Luisito. That's the cold whistle there.
Yeah.
I would always hear that growing up, you know?
Yeah.
Mijo. If you hear that whistle, it's me. If you hear anybody else whistle, run away. You know what I mean? You always gotta be cautious out here on the streets. Always gotta be sure to keep a tight circle. You know?
Facts.
Have good friends. You have bad friends. They're always there, you know? No matter where you go, no matter what city you're in. So you always gotta be on your toes, to say the least, you know? Unless you're jumping fences, then you gotta be in the air, you know? Boom! Superman. Who, me? You're right. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, no. Depends, you know? Depends. But,
did you play sports when you were younger?
I played sports. I played football, and I was also a boxer.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
So those attributes that I gained from playing sports definitely helped in life, let alone on the streets. It's crazy out here. They say it's hard out here for a pimp.
Hard out here.
But good thing I ain't no pimp. Who, me? Yeah, right. Who said that?
How far did you go in school?
I graduated from Sunnyside High School, so I have my diploma, and then I have 1 year of college under my belt. Halfway through my 2 years of college, I was shooting for a degree, and I ended up getting popped my first time. Unfortunately, it was a drug charge, so it did not allow me to continue in schooling. At least during that time period, it definitely threw things off of the
Off track.
of the track.
Yeah. What'd you go to college for? Like, what was your major?
Yeah,
That sucks.
see that? It's live action right
That's
there.
real out here, dog.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that sucks. So, what did you want to be when you got older?
Well, I was majoring in business. I grew up in a very business-oriented family. My dad was a hard worker, so was my mom. You know, my pops had a factory job building aerospace equipment, and my mom was a hustler. You know, even though she didn't have a 9-to-5 job right out the gate, she was making cakes. You know what I mean? And then when she did become a 9-to-5, as you would say, a 9-to-5 trustee, she didn't hold back, you know. She did what she had to do. But that's common nowadays, especially in these parts. I know in higher end cities or neighborhoods, you know,
Yeah.
you got your suburban stay-at-home wife, you know. Out here, no, it was always hustle, hustle, hustle.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah, not at
Yeah,
all, not at all.
that's good.
Definitely want to have those.
You still talk to your parents?
I do,
Okay, cool.
I do.
Good, man.
Thank God they're still alive, so I'm still able to have contact with them.
You got brothers or sisters?
I have one sister. Her name is.
Okay. Is she
God
older
bless
or
her
younger?
soul. She's older than me.
Okay.
I want to say 2 years older than me. Give or take a few months. She has Down syndrome.
Okay.
and me and her are the only two children in our immediate family.
I have no brothers, no sisters, man. So that's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
That's
Yes,
good
it
that
is.
you have. That's awesome. It's beautiful.
Definitely.
So, as far as homelessness, when did that start? And
Well,
how's it been for you?
It all started back in the summer of 1994. No, just kidding. In all reality, man, where did the time go? I want to say it was like 2006 when I was barely a junior in high school, right around there. Maybe entering my junior year, leaving sophomore year, I was already in the shop working. I mean, my dad had a small business. Luckily, he was fortunate enough to obtain and maintain a small business, and I thank God every day that I was able to take part in that.
It's awesome.
Very difficult, but very how do you say? It's a very goal-oriented structure of living. I mean, I myself wanted to go to high school. I mean, wanted to go to college right out of high school. You know, I was like, you know, Pops, I'm going to college, you know, F you suck, who me, yeah, right, no, you, who me, you know, start scrapping, boom, boom.
Oh, really?
I mean, allegedly, who said that?
Right. Nobody said that. I didn't hear anything.
But yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of.
It gets rough, man. Like I still remember that too. Like my family had a vision what they wanted it to do for. They had a vision of what they wanted to see me do, and I just went the other route, dog. Knucklehead, bro. So I get it. Sometimes the family dynamic could experience a lot of stress. You know, if we're doing our own thing. I understand, dog. How long have you been on the streets? Like just ever since back then, like early 2000s?
No.
Okay.
That's when I started working. I mentioned that because, you know, even though I come from a good background, hardworking parents, during that time I had a 9-to-5 job. I was barely even in high school, you know, halfway through it, and amongst all those key opportunities that I had, still ended up here on the streets. It was my father's business and my mother's. My name was not on the wheel for that. So once the grinding got tough and the market crashed, things went south. My parents ended up splitting up, like many do. I was about 23 years of age at that time. So that would have been, let's see, 16, 3. It would have been 2012, I want to say, right around there. So it definitely impacted me, considering business life was something they had shown me, and I was still going to school for it. It kind of just unraveled a can of worms, as
Yeah.
they say. You know what I mean?
On the bright side, you have hardworking genes. You have it in you, so you could just pick up and take off whenever you want, dog.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Like it's in you. Like the hard worker, it's in you. You know that never goes away. Just like boxing, you still have hands. I bet. It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Who, me?
yeah.
Yeah, right. No, I do.
I bet you have hands still, dog. Like I used to
the-
wrestle back in the day. Like I still have them skills. It's like riding a bike. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
that's in you, bro.
I mean, every sport is. No one's perfect.
Yeah.
I had my up and downs, you know. Not just in sports, obviously in life.
Mhm.
Look at where I'm at now. It's nothing to be proud of, but in essence, it definitely makes it tougher being out here. I have my own place, you know, my appropriate house, appropriate car, beautiful lady that unfortunately had I had the audacity to go speeding when I didn't need to, you know what I mean? I was upset that day for whatever reason. and went ahead and I say to this day ended my life. I mean, I was in a really bad car accident to the point where I broke my neck.
Ooh.
Many people die in that type of situation. I was lucky enough to survive. It was definitely an eye-opener. I consider myself amongst a few, like many, to become close with death, if not experienced it, and then come back. It's definitely something I wouldn't wish on my enemy, you know, but at the same time, you know, depending what they've done, depending on who your enemy is, maybe, you know, it's just to touch on the subject goes to show, you know, how it is out here on the streets.
Yeah.
I mean, some people can get locked up for drunk driving, you know, they end up hitting somebody without even knowing it, you know, they're blacked out drunk, they wake up the next day in the hospital, the doctor telling them, you know, thank God you're alright, but the person you hit didn't survive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
End up having to do X amount of time in jail. You know, I still have a buddy who's currently locked up with that same situation, which is why I bring it up to you. Which is why I'm speaking about it now, but
Sure.
that's just to go to show, you know, it can happen accidentally, it can happen by doing it to yourself or somebody else, or somebody could put a hit on you, you know what I mean? You say the wrong thing, you owe the wrong person money,
Yeah.
boom, beam, bam,
Yeah.
sauce, that's it, you know? That's it. In the blink of an eye, you're here, and all of a sudden, you're not. So every move you make, you definitely have to make it with precaution, literally and figuratively. You know, every step, every decision you make. One step could be your last. You know, you could step on a sharp rock. Ooh, ow. You know,
Yeah.
nothing. Brush it off. You look down and there's blood everywhere, you know. You stepped on a piece of glass, you know, walking around with no shoes. Or vice versa. Or not vice versa, but also another situation. You're walking through a dark alley, you know, you can't see anything. You feel a poke in your chest somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
You're thinking you ran into a tree with thorny bushes, you know. But you're running through it so fast, you just, by the time you reach light and look down, you're gushing out blood and bleeding, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're thinking, oh shit, I thought I hit a cactus. You're like, no, you hit your buddy so-and-so back there in the alleyway that had too much to drink, had heard the wrong thing, and was on edge that night, you know? And he's like, hey, there goes that one guy. Get him, you know?
Yep.
Just like that. 1, 2, 3.
It's real.
It's not a walk in the park. Although sometimes you see people that may treat it like it is, or they kind of, as you say, may brush it off or go through it again and again, and come out of it untraumatized. But it's definitely something that'll hand you PSD for the night. I myself have stayed up countless nights simply because I didn't have anybody to look after my back that night or look after my stuff. I didn't have a friend or a female at the time to look after my sleeping arrangement. You know, you sleep 2 hours.
Your belongings,
So I had to take it upon myself to stay up countless hours. You know, unfortunately, I've used to do that. Others may have not. May do their own thing. You know, snapping coffee. But it's the same thing as work, really. You're gonna slam coffee to stay at work. You may not like coffee, you're gonna do a bump. Smoke a little bit of this, smoke a little of that, smoke some weed to relax after that. Whatever the case may be, you know, it's something that we may use to help us throughout our day, but it's still considered advice, you know?
Yeah. Have you been to rehab before?
Yes.
Okay. You like it?
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. I wish I would have went sooner, to be honest.
Me too, dog.
I was ducking and dodging rehab for probably 33 years in my life. I'm currently 34, so I was about 32.
Okay.
So 2 years ago, I want to say, just roughly, when I went to rehab for my first time.
Was like beans or G like your main thing, or?
Well, you know, I prefer not to say.
Gotcha.
But a little bit
You
of
thinking
this, a
on
little bit of that.
You thinking on going back?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. As a matter of fact, I should be getting in today, if Lord willing.
Yeah.
I don't got a car. The bus schedules.
I could take you,
always,
bro. I could take you. I don't
yeah.
work with rehabs or anything, but I've taken people to detox, rehab, Cope or Kodak. You know what I mean? If you want, I could definitely take you. So I guess we could finish off with, if any family or friends see this, do you want to say anything to them, like reassurance or anything like that?
I'd like to first off just thank my friends and family. You know, immediate family, parents, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles. You know, extended family. You know, Grandpa over here, Grandpa over
He's
there.
a cool guy. Yeah, he's cool.
I consider them family. You know, we're all here on the streets together. It's something you have to consider. Unconditional love, they say, is sacrifice. You gotta be able to sacrifice the shit off your back for your brother while you're fighting in arms. You know.
Yeah.
So out here, us men, we're all street soldiers. I consider us. Nothing more, nothing less. It's something you have to be able to come to terms with. The guy to your right hand side or left hand side may be there tomorrow or not. You know.
Yeah.
Not in a good way or in a bad way, but hopefully they're still there. Hopefully they're there to have your back, and even if per se they don't lose their life or end up in jail, you know, hopefully they're still there to say, hey, I'm your buddy. You know, I still got your back. Versus them walking up to you and just not saying a word, just jabbing you with a knife. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how it'll be pretty much. Usually the enemy will come with a smile on their face, act like your friend, so you'll let them in, you know? Sometimes there's so much of a friend, they'll be like, hey dude, if you do this, you do that, or if you don't pay me back, I'm gonna stab your ass.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Straight up. And they'll say 1, 2, 3 before, when it happens, after, and while it's happening. Like, dude, vente para acá, come here. No, okay, I'm going over there. Just your ass. You know? Don't believe me? Here I go, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's always good to feel that people have your back, definitely. At the same time, you gotta stay on your toes, like I mentioned before.
Facts.
So,
Facts.
that's anywhere you're going. I mean, in any business you do, let alone in the trade, which is very common and strong through the streets, obviously. It's nothing to take for granted, nothing to take as a joke. I myself am a jokester. I used to consider myself
I like
a
your personality, bro.
Yeah, I love to crack a joke. I'm the first one that's gonna do a Grinch impersonation, you know?
To lighten the mood. Oh, Grinch. When that girl bent over, you went.
Yeah. You know, something simple, but something sweet that'll just put a smile on your face. It's not something I do for a profession, you know? I'm not a comic, who me, I write. But out here on the streets, even in jail, you know, someone acting silly or doing something to make you smile is the difference throughout the day of putting you in a good mood or a bad mood. You know what I mean?
Lighten the mood, yeah. You could be an actor, bro. I think you could be an actor, man.
You know, it's funny, I've been told that, so I kind of thought about it.
Yeah.
And in reality or in essence, depending on the perspective you look at it, I mean, we're all actors. You go to work, you have your work face on, you know?
Yeah.
Step in the ring, you have your fighting face on, you know what I mean? You step out here on the streets, fighting face. Then, happy face or sad face. It all depends on how you feel that day, if you have a greater, higher power to guide you in that. And if you have a friend or a stranger next to you to help dictate, help push you in the right direction. I mean, whether we like it or not, we're all an influence on each other's lives. I could sit here and say something negative to you, and whether you like it or not, it's gonna sting. I mean, you're like, hey, you know?
Yeah.
But I say something positive, all right,
Yeah.
thanks, bro, you know?
Yeah.
So, I would like to say I'm that positive vibe or push.
Yeah.
Even though some days I'm the one that's down and out, you know what I mean? It is what it is. It's life. You gotta be able to go through the lows, experience the lows, in order to experience the highs and appreciate the highs, you know? Some may start off on a high level and then they get bored or they get, how do you say, immune to the lifestyle that they're living. And yeah, they get too comfortable and they fall off. Not to say you're a bad person or you're doing wrong, it's just it happens, you know.
Yeah. Do you still have hope inside?
Definitely have hope, more faith. I have more faith than hope.
Let this be a chapter, bro. It ain't over. I never thought, like, when I was running around, it, like, being sober and doing the quote unquote right thing was like so far away, like it. But there's always hope, you know. Somewhere inside there was like hope inside, and it ain't over, bro. You'll make a comeback. That fighter's comeback, you know. It's in you, bro. You're good. You got it.
For sure.
Well, nice to meet you, bro. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for talking with me.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right, bro.
Enjoy the rest of your day, bro.
You as well.
All right.
Thank you, bro.